I always tell people, just know that the devil was knocking at my doorstep, because after that, best believe your bottom dollar God handled me after that. God handled me.
Tulsa Talks is the podcast that is inspiring people to have everyday meaningful conversations to gain perspective and help the world.
So we're here with Emesa today. Met Emesa at Walmart.
Yes, you met me at Walmart.
Dynamic young lady.
Yes.
And she's going through some revelational growth right now.
Yeah.
She's here today to tell us a little bit about her life experience.
Yeah.
So Emesa.
Yes.
You said that when you were in kindergarten or first grade, people were looking at your name or their names.
Yeah.
And you looked up your name. What did you find?
I found coins.
Coins? What is
coins.
that? What does that mean?
So at the time, as a kid, I did not know what that meant. It was just like these old, ancient looking coins with like a old face on it.
Okay.
Like a Greek face.
Yeah, okay. So ancient coins, kind of like what we have for quarters or pennies or whatever today, but ancient coins.
Yeah. In my child mind, I was thinking like, why is there a funny looking penny when I pull up my name? And now I'm seeing that they're currency from back then.
Okay.
And I found out that Emesa is the capital of Homs, which was where the Egyptians and the Greeks, after they had their little war, decided to build the capital of Syria right there. And it was named Emesa. And it's no longer Emesa no more, but it's a fun fact. And I'm like, okay, yeah, nice. That's a start.
Nice. So tell me a little bit about your life, maybe from high school until now.
So from high school to now, it was definitely rough. It was abusive. It was very misleading. I fell into the wrong crowds. I ended up being a rebellious teen. I stayed with my grandma a lot of the times, and then my mom decided, like, you guys would come live with me, and then she put me from Union to TPS, and so I went from a straight A student to a failing student to a dropout.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because
so you didn't finish high school.
I did not finish high school. I ended up finishing high school recently. After I found, oh man, that's crazy. I ended up getting my high school diploma recently in November. I started class in October and I finished the first week of November. And I'm expected to graduate actually this May. I forgot about that. I'm glad you said that.
Congratulations.
I forgot I got graduation in May.
Congratulations. That's a big life step.
It is. And it was crazy because as I was sitting there doing all the work, I was like, man, this is easy. Like, I like school. I like work. I like homework. It was the people.
Yeah.
I couldn't do the people. Like, I wasn't even safe enough to go to the bathroom because I would go and go ask, can I go to the restroom? And in the hallway, there might be, some delinquent kid that's skipping class. And then, I'm having to fight in the hallway. Or I had a moment in East Central where, there was a guy who was walking up and he literally would not let me go and try to pull me in the bathroom to assault me. That was scary. And then from that point on, it just continued until I found my voice when I was 24. So
what voice did you find?
I found my voice to finally just say no. You are not entitled to me. This is not my fault. You can't make me feel bad just because you feel entitled to my body. I will not allow this to happen. And I started regulating my rules. And how I did that was I moved out when I was 18, got my own place. And after I was, it's the typical story of the young girl from 16 with the older guy. I think she's so in love. She moves out and I'm working hard, all these jobs to make sure we got a roof over our head. We got a car to do it with, and that person was playing me crazy. It was abusive. It was toxic. And then I left him when I was 20. And then I had my own apartment and I started working at the hospital as a CNA. And that was the best time of my life because that's when I felt like, yeah, my terms, my rules, my house, my stuff.
So you
And
actually took ownership of your own life and instead of letting other people around you dictate who you were?
yeah, at that point, yes. And I might have, when I look back on it, I'm like, there's some things like, I would have tweaked, but
But it was a growth.
it was a growth.
You were growing into
Yes,
you.
I was growing into me. But unfortunately, the problems I was running into was loneliness. Like this, when you go on a road of being aware and responsible, the people that are around you that's 19, 20 years old, 9 times out of 10 are not responsible. They're not worried about their job and getting there on time and keeping a real career going with a good car, a good apartment that's fully furnished, groceries in your plan. They're not thinking about that. They're wanting to have fun and coming to your house to have fun.
Yeah.
So,
Users.
yes. And the me now, would not let that slide. I'm
Yeah.
such a
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah. Let's build the
So,
right community.
yeah,
Let's be part of something that is good going forward.
that is good going forward.
And hopefully those other people that were or are where they are in their life can see
Yeah.
something that they want.
Yeah, a lot
Hopefully.
of them are probably or passed away or then moved on and try to forget that part because I still run into working at Walmart, you still run into people that were bad to you in your past. But they run into you and it's like they totally forget. And then I'm not about to bring it up. I don't even want to remember. So it's just like, hi, how are you? Yeah, okay. If you need anything, just let me know. Just go ahead and pass them on through. Like, just, yeah, we ain't got nothing to talk about. Just go ahead. Don't even stand here long enough. But you still want to kill them with kindness.
And how do
So,
we see others as growing as well? Because you grew out of that.
yeah.
So how do we allow those people, if they've changed, to have an opportunity to not hurt us again?
So the part that I found with all of my everythings and figuring out how to be around people and make them more comfortable is to not come off judgmental, to keep an open mind and to forgive. I had to go through that part of I will forgive, but I will never forget. And I will not put that on you. It's like one of those like, Lord, they know not. And it's like
Yeah.
everybody deals with their own demons and deals with their own ways. And God gave us the power of choice and you chose badly. You treated me badly, but I'm not going to wear that. I cannot afford to wear that. I can't because it will kill me. Sitting in a dark room with all of that pounding on you from all these years, from everything, from all the hate because you didn't like me, because he looked at me, you didn't like me because I don't look at you. Whatever that is, I release it. I let it go. Y'all can have that. It does not cross this door. And that's a good thing because, when I lived in my house and I found all that sanctuary, it was my sanctuary. It was so peaceful. I was disturbed. And I didn't understand that I was disturbed in my peace. Like I would lay on the couch and I'll just be sitting there and imagine like all your bills are paid. You got a full refrigerator. You're young. You're beautiful. You got a car with full of gas. You can go anywhere you want to go. No kids, no nothing. You work overnights at the hospital. Your best friends are the patients. Like I get excited to see my patients, but something feel like it's missing. Something, and
Yeah.
it's like, what is it? Why?
Mhm.
What is
Yeah,
eating
what
at
is
me?
it?
Yeah, I'm like, what is it? And so I would make phone calls like, hey, anybody want to hang out? Anybody want to chill? And around that time, that's when I was going by like Captain Crunch Bish on my Facebook. And so, I would
Captain Crunch, what? Captain Crunch, what?
Bish. 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 Bish.
Okay.
And
All right.
so, I had a very goofy personality and I
That
thought
sounds
that was
fun.
so clever. I don't worry, it's changed now. As an adult, I lost that Facebook long ago. If people wanted to go dive in and find it, they probably could because I lost it long ago. But
I might go
yeah.
look for that.
Oh my gosh.
Put it
You'll
in the
find so
notes.
many.
Put it in the notes.
Like you'll find so many. And that's why I believe in God so tough and like the divine and my ancestors because when it was time for me to grow up, and like when it was that time and everything around me was changing, I ended up ironically getting locked out of that account, and I never gained access back into it.
How fun.
I tried hard. I tried to call Facebook. I tried to do the face recognitions, emails. I couldn't get into that Facebook at all. I had to start over.
Walk away.
I had to walk away. And ironically, that's when I ended up getting pregnant with my son. And I ended up changing my life 360 right then and there, because something told me when I found out I was pregnant with my son, something told me like he's going to be meant for something and it's time for a change. I dropped everything cold turkey, my job, the people I was around, everything, everybody, moved out of that apartment I was in for like 5 years. I called it my bachelorette pad. I changed my car from a, what was it? What was it? It was a Infinity. It was an Infinity something. It was really nice. But ironically, around that time when I was getting ready to lose everything, things were falling off.
Lose everything.
See, look.
You're taking a bold step forward.
Well, at the time, it
Changing
felt
life.
like a loss because I got locked out of my Facebook. I ended up getting into a car wreck, losing that car. I ended up, like, since I was cutting that toxic person off that I was playing, that
Yeah.
I was dealing with, there was a female that was attached to that person who was threatening my life. So I had to leave that apartment I was in. Like, everything literally in my mind crumbled. And then because I had to call out of my job, I was young. I should have fought it. I should have sued. But the day that I was supposed to go to work, I ended up going into labor. So I had to call in. And so they were like, you have too many call-ins, so we're dropping you. So that job I loved, I lost the job. I lost the car. I lost the house. I lost all of that. And in my mind, I was like, what is happening? God, why is me? You abandoned me. What happened? Like, I got this baby. I got this, my boobs are engorged, this pain. Like, I'm going crazy. I'm sitting there like, what? Like,
I get it. I have been there. My boobs weren't engorged, but I have had that type of experience.
It's crazy.
It is.
It's crazy.
It doesn't feel good, does it?
It does not feel good, especially being young and coming from the struggle and building that for yourself and then having it all crumble. But there's something that I didn't tell you that happened right before this experience, right before I got pregnant. There was a moment in time where I felt that because I was so blessed and had everything that I could ever ask for. And I felt like I worked hard for it, and it was me. It wasn't God. It was me that worked for it. It was all me. I was feeling very arrogant.
I'm doing this.
And I had a moment where something just did not go right because I thought I was in a relationship with somebody and that person was playing me. So I was mad. I was angry. I was spiteful. And I was like, you know what? F God. F everybody. I don't care. I don't need nothing. I make this. I'm powerful enough. Like, I was sitting there doing blasphemy in my front room. And so an opportunity came.
So you said earlier that something was missing. You were feeling lonely?
I was feeling lonely. I was feeling...
Everything was going all right.
Everything was going so perfect. But I was feeling like something was missing.
And you were doing it all.
Well, yeah.
As far as you, me,
Yeah.
watch me.
But the problem was, instead of feeling that with God at the time, I was feeling that with the person that I was investing in. Like, I found this guy, and I was like, he got his own place. He got his own, he don't got no kids. We're hitting it off. I'm like going to see him like all the time. And at the time in my mind, I was like, this is so right. I'm going to marry this man. But what I didn't find out until years later, because out of nowhere, he was just like, he started an argument and then he didn't want to talk to me. And I didn't know what was wrong. And I'm trying to correct things. And come to find out, he had secretly went and slept with his ex, decided to start his life back with his ex, but didn't want to come and tell me to my face anything. So he decided to start an argument and blame me for something just random because his mom had showed me a picture of his baby picture. And I was like, oh, they're so cute. And I was laughing with his mom. And then he said that offended him greatly and then made this huge thing out of it. And so it left me feeling like,
what? That's what it would have been like. What just happened?
What happened? What did I do wrong? And then it led to a whole spiral of my insecurities and my everything. And then me just, like, I forsake all of this. I don't care. I could take whatever handle, So that night I called up my cousin I called up her little friends and I was like, let's go party, let's go do this. And I was like, I don't care, I'll pay for everything. So, I went out and I did
Crazy stuff.
crazy stuff. And it was like one of those party X type situations. Like I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's whatever. Like we
But
were
when it all
drinking.
broke,
Let me tell you
when
what
it all
happens.
broke.
Let me tell you what happened when the night ended, because this is where I should have seen, but I wasn't seeing nothing. So I went out and I had the party of my life, bar hopping, drinking, cocaine in the
Oh
bathroom with
my.
random strangers, did not care, having the time of my life. I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This makes me feel good. This makes me feel fulfilled. Yeah. And we come home, we're being irresponsible, we're drinking. And like at the time I lived in the Vistas, and that's on a hill. So the moon is full and bright on this hill, and we're just drinking, we're smoking.
Full moon,
Oh my
living it up.
gosh, music up loud. We're hanging off the rooftops, drinking, and he's like the person that's driving is going full speed, hitting around this hill. We're just like, yeah, we're living life. We don't care. And so I get a text message, and at the time I didn't know it was the devil at my door. It was this guy I just didn't talk to before. Like I've hung out with him a couple of times, but at the time I didn't know this person was going to make my life hell. So I'm drunk. I don't care. I'm just like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, hey, what's up? I'm in town. And, I just stopped by. Are you home? I'm like, I'm about to be home here in a second. Okay, we can already picture what happens after that. So,
I don't want to.
So, I always tell people just know that the devil was knocking at my doorstep, because after that, best believe your bottom dollar, God handled me after that. God handled me, because it was 3 months that passed by. I found out I was pregnant. So I called that person back, and come to find out, I didn't know this person was married. Not only was this person married, but this person was married to a woman who was getting ready to give birth to his child in a couple of months. He came to me on Father's Day when she was out coming back from town with their 1-year-old. This person didn't want to have nothing to do with me. And then come to find out, this person was not only a douchebag, but this person was racist. So that these people was telling me that I was a black woman trying to put a random baby on a man, and he would never sleep with a black woman. And so I went down a whole spiral of, you messed around and you found out. You messed around and you found out. And so it was a lot of thinking in my bedroom with just one lamp on, with everything crashing around me, thinking like, why? Why? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? I know what I did wrong. I know exactly what I did wrong. And if people don't believe in the power of God, people don't believe in the power of the universe, people don't believe in karma, then you need to start, because it always comes for its receipts. It always comes with receipts. But I would never trade my baby for nothing.
So you got pregnant by a married man and
Yes.
ended up having that baby.
Yeah, because he ended up, after months of me fighting, like, I will pay for, I didn't say abortion because I didn't believe in that, because I just felt like that was just so wrong. Because 3 months in, and I'm like, that's unfair. And I'm like, you don't have to be here. You don't have to be here. But my child deserves to know their dad, which I was fighting at the time. But come to find out, what I found out after that was that he was not only a douchebag, but he was very abusive. He was beating the living daylights out of his wife. He was very abusive. So I definitely didn't need to be involved with nothing like that. And
So you hit a low spot and we move on with life.
So
you got a baby. How old's the baby now?
He is 8 now.
That's awesome.
He is 8 now. So that, from there on, I end up having the baby, because he calls me in secret after all these months of denial, after all these months of threats, after all these months of his wife and their family just tearing my character down that I didn't build up so well.
And he called you. What did he say?
He called me in secret, because I worked overnights at the hospital, and I get a phone call at like 3:00 in the morning at an unmarked phone, and he's like, hey, I know that this is like, super bad, and I know what I did, but I have the family that I want, and I can't jeopardize that. And, she said if I try to claim your child, that she would leave me. And, I can't do that to this family. I'm sorry. But if you keep that kid, that kid is yours and yours alone. And I took those little words and I said, okay, okay, you don't got to worry about it because I'm keeping my baby. And I'm so glad I did because he get on my nerves. But I would never trade him. He is so talented. He's so smart. He's so sweet. And if anybody loves me more than anything, I know that little boy do. Like he is just the cutest thing with his little dimples.
So you had the baby.
Oh yeah,
unwed
by
this being douche. Pregnant by a married man.
Mm-hmm.
Then you lose everything all of a sudden a couple of years later?
No, this was months. This was
okay, so months. So and then what about the recovery?
The recovery. Okay. So after the breakdown, because everything just like as soon as I put my baby's car seat from coming from the hospital, as soon as I put him inside the house and I closed the door, I just broke down and cried. And then the next day I get a call that I don't have a job back to go to. And then, I had to get another, I had to build everything. I'm a hustler. Like I said, whenever I moved out of my mom's house, I was accustomed to okay, I know I need to work this many jobs. I need to accumulate this much in my budget. I need to put this much here. I need to build on this. So having a kid, unfortunately for my baby boy, I wasn't equipped with the nurture mother. I didn't have the time to sit down and nurture my baby and get to know my baby like that. It was more like, we're going to survive and we're going to have, I love you and I'm going to support you and we're going to survive this. And so it was like survival mode. Luckily, I have the support of my mom. So my mom was watching him most of the time. So I ended up getting blessed with another job working at Capital One. And I would work at Capital One while my mom would watch him during the day. And I got blessed with another car, a Malibu, and I liked it. And it was still overwhelming. And I didn't understand or comprehend, what was it called? Postpartum depression.
Oh, I have not experienced that.
I never understood that. So whenever the doctors will ask, are you experiencing anything like this? I'll be like, no, I'm not. But I didn't know what that was. And that would be the times where the baby is crying, you're getting overwhelmed on the highway, and you pull over on the side of the highway so you can just cry with the baby.
You did that?
Yes.
Didn't know what it was called.
I didn't know what it was called. Just I don't know. Or even when my mom was asking, because, I'm a strong and optimistic person. So when I got him from the hospital, and she was like, are you sure we can come in and help you? Do you need any help? You need me to stay with you? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm good. Thank you. I love you guys. See you guys later. And as soon as I heard the click of the door, I just started and I didn't know why. The baby just
how'd you get over that?
A lot of strong mentalness, a lot of strong mental, you're okay. We got this. What's the next plan? What can we do? What is out here? Because there's always a way. I went to, what is it called?
After you lost everything and you got a brand new baby, what did you do postpartum after that?
Well, I didn't even know it was postpartum.
Yeah, but how'd you come out of that?
I worked. I substituted no mind for me to have any room to feel sorry for myself. I worked. I went straight to Green Country Staffing and I was putting in some work. I was like, wherever you need me, whatever you need me to do, I'm there. I'm doing it all. I was a lunch lady. I was a lunch lady. I was a HR office assistant. I worked out at, a construction site at one point. I've done I worked a lot.
So I met you maybe 2 months ago or something like that.
Yeah, about that much.
And it's taken us this long to get this podcast up and ready to be recording.
Yeah.
And it happened to be that a week ago, you received something.
Yeah.
What is that something that you've stepped into now or that you're stepping into now?
I'm the type of person that just goes through a lot. We can talk next week and it'll be something else. And I'm like, let me tell you what happened at the Devil's Den. No. Let me tell you. So in August, I started going to Victory Christian Church. And when I started going there, that's when I started building back up my faith, because I've always been a faith believer, but I ain't never understood the Bible. And I always believe that if you are falling asleep when somebody's trying to preach to you, that's not the person that need to be talking to you.
Yep.
You know, and you're not in tuned enough, because you have to open up your, you know, your spirit and be open to receive. So at this time, I was ready to receive. I was at a point in my life where I'm just like, God, I am here. I am your vessel. Whatever you need me to hear, I'm here because I need it. And so, you know, just so happened, Pastor Paul Daughtry was preaching, and you know, it's a big church, so you know,
Yes,
you
big
kind of
church.
you go in there and you're just like, how is this gonna give me anything close to faith? You know, this ain't nothing humble. Like, what is this? But I still went in there with an open mind. I didn't start talking mess, because with my experiences with God, I'm like, nah, I ain't talking nothing. So I'm just open to receive. So I went in there and I sat down with my friend, my best friend, and she was like, let's go sit right here in the front row. And I'm like, girl, you want to sit in the front row? Like, oh my God. Okay, let's go sit in the front row. Let's do it. So we sat in the front row, and whatever he was talking just was hidden. Every single piece, like, I recorded it. Some told me, like, record the whole thing. So I recorded it. And every little thing he was saying was hitting on my soul, hitting my heart. It was just like, bam, bam. And I was like, ooh, yes. Like, oh my God, this is for me. He's talking to me. Like, oh my goodness. So whenever it was a part in what he was saying, and it was just like, I'm listening like this, and I just felt tears streaming down my face. And it wasn't tears of like, oh my God, this is sad. It was just like, I hear you. I feel you.
Yeah.
Connected. I feel that. I feel connected. And then, like, I went down there and I got prayed over, and then stuff started happening after that. So let's fast forward. We go through it. And, you know, I'm in a relationship all last year. And then this year I decided to get married.
Congrats.
And I got married on Valentine's Day. So that was recently.
Nice.
And in this midst of everything, I'm going through my trials and tribulations. Right now, me and him are like, you know, I'm just like, you over there, I'm over here. Like, we're going through our little spew where I'm still trying to figure out how to be a married woman when you've lived your life so independently, and allowing a man to lead and respecting. And right now, I'm still, like I said, I've had my moments, so we're still learning here. Okay, so I might have something else for you next week. But
life lessons.
So
until we're not alive.
Oh man, and even beyond then, I'm finding out, like, you know, your higher self and whatever journey you might end up on in the next life. But I don't know if I told you before, but I've never been out of Oklahoma. I've been here for 30 years and never left anywhere. And I don't count it. Matter of fact, let me rephrase that. I apologize. I've left, but I don't count them. Like, it's been turnarounds. Like, you go to Texas to go pick somebody up and you are still on the road. You don't get out the car to go do nothing.
Right. Sure.
And I've taken before, when my son was like 2 or 3, I've taken a friend to Mississippi as a turnaround, because she was going up there to see her daughter and then back. So I got to see the plantations on the road. So other than that, I've never really just left. I don't count it because it didn't feel like an experience. But this time, on March 1st or February 28th, I decided as Emesa to, like, on my own, as a vacation for myself, this is for me to go. Because every time I've left anywhere in the surroundings, it's been for somebody else.
Sure.
For another reason, for a mission. But this time it was like for me.
Where'd you get to go?
I went to California.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a long ways from Oklahoma.
Oh, boy. Let me tell you. It was.
For a person that's not been out of Oklahoma intentionally. So what happened in California?
So I have a best friend who's like my bestie at my hip. Nobody can mess with that girl because I'm coming for them. So I love her so much. That best friend was out, and she's from California. So she went back for the holidays. Like in December, she went back because, first of all, she don't like the cold here in Oklahoma. So she decided to spend a little bit of her winter there, avoiding the winter here.
Yeah. So what happened? So
she was there, and she had something come up in her family where her mom wasn't going to be able to drive with her back to Tulsa. And so this was in January. We were talking about this, and I was like, no, girl, I don't want you to drive back. How about I fly there and drive back with you.
So you're still going for a reason.
Yes, I'm still going for a reason, but it's for me.
But this time you have a little time.
It's for me. I'm like, girl, I want you to show me everything. I want to touch the water. I want to see the beach. I want to see the Grand Canyon.
How was it?
Oh my God, it definitely healed my inner childhood.
How many days did you stay?
I ended up going there on the 28th, and we came back on I left Friday and I came back Monday.
Okay, so quick trip still.
It was still a quick trip,
but you were
I've seen
able
a lot.
to do some stuff.
I've seen a lot. Like, we got there as soon as I got there, because I left at 3:00 in the morning. I got on the flight, and I was nervous, but it was one of those like, oh my God, hopefully I don't look like too much of a tourist. So my husband dropped me off at the airport, and I told him, like, hold down the fort while I'm gone, and call if needed, but don't call. I'm trying to forget here while I'm there.
Yeah.
So I get on the flight and I head to Texas, and I'm already nervous because before I'm leaving, everybody at Walmart that I'm meeting, all the customers I'm talking to, everybody's like, Texas is so big. Don't get lost. You're going to have to get on like a transit to get around to the other side. You can get lost real easy. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God. And in my brain, I'm thinking this place is catastrophic. I'm like, I'm going by myself. I'm good. I'm saying strong prayers on the way there. I'm like, God got me, man. God got me. I'm cool. I'm straight.
So you got through Dallas Fort Worth?
Because I ended up meeting really nice people. So we get there, and it's early in the morning. And so in my mind, I've never been on a plane. So in my mind, it's only what I've seen in movies. So I'm thinking it's about to be like some like FBI, like checking your bags. You about to get scanned through. It's about to be like top-notch security personnel, right? So I'm going through, and it's like, at this point, it's 4:00 in the morning, and it's like me and like 2 other families that's walking through. And the people, they're like, yeah, just come on. They're like, yeah, we're not really checking the bags, so come on. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I take off my shoes, and I'm like, oh, this is so interesting. I get to take off my shoes. You want me to take off my shoes, And so I put on my shoes, and I'm like, is it okay to touch my bag now? Can I touch my bag? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. So I get my bag, and I'm like going down the hall, and nothing is open because it's so early in the morning. So I'm going down the hall, and I'm like, remember this, Emesa. Remember this experience. Remember this weird smell in this hallway. Remember all of it. And so I get to the little place, and it's like a whole bunch of people that's waiting to be checked in because everybody else decided to get there early too. And so some people going to Chicago, some people are going to Atlanta, some people are going to like other places. So I sat down next to these people because I decided to walk up to this random older couple that was kind of old. And I was like, these old people look like they know what they talking about. So I walked up to them and I said, you guys look like you're seasoned flyers. Do you know what I'm supposed to do when I get here? And then they'll call your number at the gate and da-da-da. And they gave me the ran through. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. And so then I look around and I don't see no seats, but I see a seat over here by these people. And I'm like, they look cool. So I go sit down and I'm like, so you guys do this all the time? Just trying to small talk.
Right.
And then so luckily the lady, she turned around and she looks at me and I tell her all my experience. And she's like, okay. So she looks at my ticket and then she goes into full mother mode. And then her husband had to tell her, like, babe, we're going, she gonna have to find it on her own. She can't go with us. Because the lady at this point, they got my ticket and everything. She's just like, just follow me. You'll be okay. I'm like, oh my goodness. So
you get on the plane.
I get on the plane. Successful trip. Yes, it's a successful trip. I got blessed because only one person was next to me. And it was the person that decided to be by the window because I decided to pick the seats that's right there. Like it's first class and then it's right here. And it's, so I got the first row and then nobody sat next to me and it was the man by the window. And then I asked him, I was like, this is my first time. Could I look out your window? And he was like, yeah, just go ahead. And I was like, yay. So the whole time I'm just like, ooh, the jitters. And then, the plane starts shaking and I'm like, ooh, it's like so exciting. So that was successful. We get there, we get off, and then I'm nervous because the lady started talking about how big Texas was. People at Walmart was talking about how big Texas was. Everybody talking about how big Texas was. Beware. We arrive at gate 23A and my ticket says 24A. And I'm like, where is this at? So I get off and I'm ready. I'm like a hunter. I'm looking at these little signs above and these signs above. And this does not say, this goes 25 and to over.
DFW airport's
yeah.
pretty good sized place.
I'm like, oh my God, I don't see 24A. Where's 24A? And I guess it's the dude that's driving the luggage or whatever. He's just chilling right here. And I'm like, excuse me, sir. Do you know where 24A is? And he's like, right here. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he's just like staring at me like, okay, lady, are you pardon? I'm like, oh man. I'm like, oh, so excited. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, and everybody else is just like, you know, got their headphones on, laptop, kids, everybody just looks seasoned. And I'm just like,
when we get outside of our normal routine and do the
so
first
exciting.
thing or do something for the first time, it can be challenging
yes,
and exciting.
With somebody like me, I have an adventurous spirit.
Yes.
So for me, it was like that purpose, you know, that it was a calling. It felt right to travel. It felt right to leave. It felt right. Adventure felt right.
Right.
And so the lady, she was like, you know, had this New York accent and she was like, you know, next flight, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, oh, she's so pretty. And I was like, but let me listen. And so I, again, got the first row. So I was in one of the first groups after the first class. So that, I'm going to do that again next time I flight, you know, just let people know you want to be on the first group. You don't want to be in the back.
So you had a good time in California. You got your girl back here.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy. I got there to California, and then it was just here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in my little town here, bless our hearts. I thought I knew what a mountain was. Obviously, don't judge me. I didn't listen in class because I thought that Turkey Mountain was as close. I thought that was a mountain. And so whenever I was in California and driving and I seen those houses sitting all the way up there, I was like, look at those houses on that mountain. And they both looked at me like, mountain? Those are hills. And I was like, no, that's a mountain. They're like, no, that's a hill. Mm-hmm. And then when we finally going through there, they showed me, they were like, do you see back there in the skyline? They like, you see that gray out back there in the skyline? And I was like, yeah. They're like, that's a mountain. That is a mountain. With all that snow at the top, that's a mountain. And I was just like, oh my goodness, that is amazing. Oh my goodness, there was so much culture, so much to see. I also was surprised that you can find a Starbucks on each corner. Like we missed one and I almost panicked. So I was like, it's back there. But there was another one right here on the corner.
Yes.
And then you have to cross through traffic and there's another one and another one and another one, another one. I'm like, why are there so many Starbucks here in California? Crazy work. But going into the sea was my favorite part. I thought that I was just going to dip a toe, but for some reason the sea pulled me in. Full clothes and everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had my pants, my brown pants on and my hippie gear. And I thought I was just going to do. And then as soon as I started going out there, it was just like splash, 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 splash. And it was like literally I could feel a vibration in my soul. Like it was a literal vibration in my soul that was healing my inner child. And it felt like I was like wanting to like just cry. Like it was crying of like a hug, like hugging your inner child. Like, we made it. You're okay. Look at this goodness. And I just like the whole time I was sitting there, I was like, I can't wait to bring my kids out here. I can't wait. I know they're going to love it. I know it. We're going back in June.
It was a pleasure having you on the podcast.
Oh, it was a pleasure talking about it. I'm glad that you got to know a little bit about the transformation that I'm going through because, man, it's some real stuff. I'm telling you.
We are here to help you discover or develop your passions, how you can use them, and why you exist. How can we help you help others better?